Hey everyone, and welcome to our New Year's workshop. This is Kate and Judy Moon, and we are totally excited to be here with you today. So today we are going to share with you how to make sure that 2016 is your most prosperous year yet. And we really want to share with you what it really takes to bring forth your big desires in 2016. And most importantly, we want to take the mystery out of success. So we've been carefully preparing this workshop so we can really give you our very best stuff, and we can't wait to share it with you. So if you know that 2016 is really meant to be your year, and you are ready, you are really ready to be living your biggest, your juiciest, your most expansive life, then you are definitely on the right call. So cozy up here because this is going to be a great workshop. If you want to bring an element of sacredness to this time, go ahead and light a candle or two, burn some incense, turn off any distractions like email or Facebook or texts. And also what we really want to encourage you to do is to grab a notebook or a journal to jot down some notes, some intentions, and some reflections that will be total game changers for you over the coming year. And we're also going to be leading you through some very powerful beginning of year exercises. And so you are definitely going to want to capture your insights. And you know, the truth of it is that most people around the world never take this kind of time that you have chosen to take today to reflect and wipe the slate clean in order to step into a new year with fresh eyes. There's a beautiful quote, a Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So it's no mistake that you're here today, that you have heard the call for really making this your best year yet. You're done with wishing and hoping. 2016 really can be a clean slate and a fresh start if you make it so. So this is the moment for you to really take a stand for yourself, that this will not be another year where you look back with regrets that you didn't reach the goals that you set again. I was reading this beautiful post by the author Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And she wrote, I love New Year's Day because I can never get over the generosity of the fact that we get a brand new year totally for free with no dents or dinks or mistakes yet. It's the ultimate refresh button. And you know what, it really is. So even if today is not the official first day of the year, we still have almost an entire full year ahead of us. So today's training is all about really hitting that refresh button. And what we know about you is that you are here for a reason and a purpose. We believe in the inherent greatness in you, that you are here to thrive, to share your gifts, to live a life that is deeply fulfilling in all the ways that matter to you. And we believe that as human beings on this planet, that we are part of a greater community, and we're here to live and grow and love and support one another. And who you are and what you do in your life does matter, because this world needs your unique gifts and thumbprint. And we believe that it's not only our birthright, but it's actually our responsibility to bring forth our unique gifts. It's really why we're all here. And the truth of it is that we are serving no one by playing small. So I would love to pass this over to Judy to introduce herself and to tell you a little bit about what we are going to be sharing today in this masterclass.
All righty. Thank you, Kate. Well, hello, everyone. This is Judy, and I am so excited to be here with you today. And, if you're on this call with us, what we know about you is that you have big desires. And we know that you want to make a huge impact in the lives of others. And you want to be incredibly prosperous and make real money as well. And guess what? You can totally have both. And how do we know that? Well, that was us. We had big desires, we had big dreams, and we wanted to make a real difference in the lives of others through our coaching business. And we were deeply interested in living really big, expansive, abundant lives ourselves. And the truth is is that the path of the extraordinary isn't necessarily an easy one. That was never the guarantee. I love this quote. It's a great quote that says, entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. You know, the path less followed, it can be tricky, especially at the beginning. When we first began our business, we experienced a lot of frustration, a lot of false starts, and really total business busts. And our finances certainly weren't like smooth sailing or stable. You know, some months were like 5-figure months, then there were crickets. And, you know, it was often like this feast or famine. Talk about unsustainable. Well, it took a lot of stumbling and failing forward. But hallelujah, that's the good news. We found that there really is actually a formula for success that is predictable, and it's repeatable, and it's reliable. And so this is the overarching topic of today's training, honestly. We really want to help take the mystery out of success. And so much of success has to do really with personal mastery. This is so key. We can never outperform our own self-image. And while systems and structures are really the foundations for success in any business, they will never trump a low self-image or low wealth consciousness. This is really an inside job, and we have to work harder on ourselves, on our mindset, than on our business. And it all begins with our thinking, who we believe ourselves to be, and the beliefs that we hold. And the truth be known is that many of our beliefs are unconscious, and and ones that really we're not even aware of, which is why we continue to get the same unsatisfying results over and over and over again. So for those of you who are new and just getting to know us, we'll tell you briefly about how we found our way to coaching. So Kate, why don't you go ahead and start?
Okay, perfect. So, in case you didn't figure it out yet, Judy is my mom. And so we work together, obviously. We're coaches together. And so we've been in business together for about 4 years now. But winding the clock way back to how we got here, personally, I have always been very deeply interested in history and art and travel and culture. And so I was majoring in art history back in the day in college. And so I went to Rome, Italy for my junior year abroad. And I completely fell in love with the city. And so very quickly that 1 year in Rome turned into 5 years, which is not necessarily uncommon. But I'd gotten my degree at that point, and I worked as a private tour guide in Rome, taking couples and families to see all of the greatest masterpieces of the city, like Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel and the Colosseum. And I had made really incredible friends, and I had really built a life for myself there. And after those 5 years, I mean, needless to say, it was an awesome experience. And yet it was really interesting because after 5 years of being there, surprisingly to me, I started to feel like there was actually more for me, that I was supposed to be doing something else, that my life was really meant to be even bigger than it appeared to be at the time. And I don't know if something like that has ever happened to you, that you're going down one path and then you get these signals and that, you know, you're actually meant to be doing something else. And frankly, when we get those kinds of messages, we often want to ignore them, which I did for a while. But it was a nudge that wouldn't go away. So eventually I knew that I needed to listen and to act. And truthfully, it was not comfortable because my whole life was really settled in Rome. And I had no idea what was next. You know, I knew I wasn't meant to be continuing to do what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was meant to be doing. And, you know, what was like crazy, leave Rome and go back to New Mexico, which is where I was born and where I grew up. And yet, that's exactly what I ended up doing. And as I've connected the dots looking backwards, making the decision to leave was really one of the most important decisions of my life because it really led me to my right path. And I've actually been able to lead a much more expansive life now as a coach and entrepreneur than I ever could have imagined. So Judy, I'll pass this back to you, and you can tell us how you got here, and then kind of share how our purposes in our lives ultimately dovetail together in the business that we now have.
Okay. Well, I've always, I could look back, even as a young girl, I've always been curious about the magic and the mystery of life. And really, why are we here? What are we doing here on this planet? And my professional background for years was actually in nursing. And for many years, I was a hospice nurse. And it was really, honestly, an amazing experience. And it was an experience that shaped me and shaped my life forever. And it changed me. Sitting with death every day, it really drove me to ask those bigger questions in life. And honestly, to embrace life fiercely by really helping people to live the most expansive, unlimited lives they can while they're here. While I was sitting at the bedside with people who were taking their last breaths, life becomes very precious. And it became so clear to me that, it's our responsibility while we're living to just live it full out. And I really do believe that we're all here for a reason, and that we're here to let our light shine, whatever that might be. And honestly, what the heck are we waiting for? So I did get to the point where I was complete with hospice. And I got complete with, instead of supporting individuals and families through the dying process, what I was just passionate about, I really wanted to truly embrace life. And it was about that time that when Kate returned to the States from Italy, and it was about that time really when our lives and our purposes converged. And I left hospice. And we eventually were introduced to coaching, and we became certified, and we decided to join together. And from the get-go, from, shall I say, day one, we have always been blessed with a relationship that was very unique. And truly, we are on a mission to help people live their most expansive, truly prosperous and abundant lives, to truly empower coaches and entrepreneurs to really make a big impact in the world while making real money themselves. So before we dive into our super fun content today, the one thing we really want to highlight early on is that, much of what we're going to share today is probably not all that new to you. Our guess is that, maybe a lot of this you may have heard before, quote unquote, thoughts become things, blah, blah, blah. Have you heard that before? Sometimes it kind of, fades into the background, and we tune things we think we know about, we tune them out, and then we start checking Facebook. And it's so easy to say, I know that, and then tune out just enough and not hear it anew. But the truth is that unless we are experiencing a level of success in our lives that demonstrates that we have really embodied a particular teaching or consideration, we indeed might know about it, but if we aren't living it, we don't know it. Knowing is embodiment. So we really want to invite you to bring fresh eyes and a beginner's mind to what you're about to hear. So, if your life isn't, let's say, 100% gloriously amazing, exactly what you want, bring yourself back to the moment. And remember, we never step in the same river twice. And be sure to listen all the way through to the end, because we have some really fun things in store for you. And honestly, if you resonate with what we are sharing and are interested in exploring how you might be able to go deeper with us, we'll make sure to let you know how you can do that by the end of the call.
All right, so we are first going to lead you through some reflection over this past year and what you want 2016 to really be. And then we're going to make this a very personal deep dive and help you to really excavate your true desires for this next year. And after that, we're going to share with you what it's really going to take to manifest those desires that you've identified with us here today, and to really manifest those in 2016. So the first thing that we want to do is begin by taking a moment to reflect back over this past year and seeing, really where you want to begin making some tweaks moving forward in 2016. So go ahead and grab your journal. And we're going to start with some questions to really clean up and complete 2015. One thing that I've noticed for sure in my own life and in many of my clients' lives is that we tend to start things really well and we don't necessarily complete them really well. So this is our moment just to energetically and kind of mentally and emotionally complete 2015. So the first question is, what are the major mile markers over the last year? We're going to, just so I'm going to read these out, give you guys just a couple of moments to write out some answers, and but we are going to keep this moving forward just for the sake of time. But these are definitely questions I would say come back to because they're really, really powerful. So just kind of as quickly as you can, pull out some of those major mile markers over the last year. The second question is, what do I want to release from 2015? What do I want to release from 2015? What is it that's no longer serving you from 2015? That you're ready just to let go, drop, walk forward. The next one is, what do I feel the most proud of over the last 12 months? How have I really shown up? What are you most proud of?
Kate, I want to just jump in here for a
Sure.
sec. Just as we're going through these exercises, Kate and I both together did this exercise together on the new year, and it's interesting because sometimes we can quickly just kind of flip through these answers, but what we found is that actually when we dove a little bit more deeply, that we really were able to really excavate some major mile markers that literally did change the trajectory of 2015 that brought us to actually 2016.
Yeah.
Because my guess is that that's the same for each one of you. That if you really look back at 2015, maybe you didn't have the results, the ultimate results that you would have loved, but there were mile markers that have set you in the trajectory of those results for 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question is, what could I clean up or clear out physically, emotionally, mentally, psychically, or relationally from 2015? And I'll also say that if these questions are really resonating with you, I know that we're not giving a ton of time here. You're welcome to send us an email, and I can pop these questions to you in a Word document. That might be something helpful. So you should have our email, but just in case you don't, it's questions@moontransformationalcoaching.com. So what could I clean up or clear out? So then the next set of questions is really all about creating a legendary 2016. So the first question there is, what do I want to bring more of into 2016? What would I like more of? What would I like less of? Where might I want to lean onto the gas pedal a little bit more in the coming year? And these next two questions are super important. These are actually questions that I have saved near my desk all the time, that I look at and think about all the time. So what is the number one thing that I could start doing today that if I did it consistently would have the most positive impact in my life? And then the other question is, what's the number one thing I could stop doing right now that if I stopped doing it would have the greatest impact in my life? All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. But again, you can always come back to these questions and be a little bit more complete with them on your own time if you so wish. So now that we have done some reflecting over the completion of 2015 and what's next in 2016, we really want to dive deeply into your desires, because this is really where all creation and manifestation and true fulfillment in our lives comes from, is bringing forth what we deeply desire. So the truth of it is that manifesting your desires requires that you first have to be clear on them. So we're going to lay a strong foundation by really clarifying your desires and goals, and then we're going to talk about what it really takes to manifest them. So you need to have a clear picture on where you want to end up. And, of course, it's certainly going to evolve along the way, but it's paramount that you begin where you are with what you do know for sure today. And the truth of it is that most of us have been trained to be very circumstance-based. We've been trained to look to our circumstances to determine what we can have, what we can do, what we can contribute. And so we're very programmed to operate and make decisions from our current conditions. We look outside of ourselves to determine what we can be, what we can do, what we can have, what we can give or experience. We look to our checkbooks to tell us what we can or cannot afford. We look to the economy or our education or our history or what everybody else is doing. We might even look into other people's eyes for approval or confirmation. So what we're going to be doing today is really looking at your true desires, the unedited desires that have nothing to do with your current circumstances or what you think other people will approve of. So there's a really important distinction that we want to make here about true desires, because truly wishes don't come true, but desires do. So if you think about it, if wishing and wanting and hoping alone would get us what we desire, we kind of joke about this, we'd all probably be fit billionaires with fabulous luxury properties all around the world, right?
Absolutely.
So just wishing isn't enough. It has to be a true desire, meaning, and this is when we say this is really the definition of a true desire. A true desire is something that hits a chord within us that is so deep that we are willing to do whatever it takes for the achievement of that desire. And the very interesting truth is that only about 1 out of 100 people actually really know what they want, what they really desire. And my guess is that if you have found your way to this workshop today, that you have also realized that wishing and hoping and wanting is magical thinking, and magical thinking never gets us what we truly desire. So this is your time to really claim your desires and take a stand for living the life that you have always dreamed of, because truly, if not now, then when? So it can be really easy for so many people to fantasize about setting the world on fire with these huge goals, like making $10 million a year or starting a school in Africa or being a world famous musician or whatever that is. Because here's the thing, when we fantasize it actually lets us have the experience that we are, in fact, working on something amazing, just because it's taking up mental space. But we don't want your desires to just stay in fantasy land. So we're going to take this a lot deeper here. Because in all honesty, the last thing that this world needs is another person with a great idea, with what they will do one day, when we all know that that day will never come. We're really about, this is about getting into reality and bringing forth that which we desire. Just point blank, that's it. So if this is honestly a true desire, you will do whatever is required. You will take the action steps to actually move forward with that and not just talk about it. So identify your goals and what they are for, and really the why behind them is what we're going to be discussing about in terms of the desire that they satisfy. So let's go ahead and dive in on getting really clear on your desires. So we're going to take you through a very specific exercise here to help you discover and uncover what your desires really are. Because the truth of it is that you absolutely have the ability to manifest these desires. The clarity itself will put you on a frequency where you then can begin to use your imaginative lens to create, first in your mind, the life and the business that are in alignment with your values and your interests and your unique gifts that are bursting to be shared with the world. So the first thing that we do here, step one, is to excavate your desires. So open your journal or notebook to a fresh page and go ahead and actually close your eyes. So you can kind of keep your pen there in case you have a little spark of inspiration, but go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath here. And we're going to get you started on this now. And then for the sake of time, again, we're going to let you come back to this on your own after we've completed today. So feel your shoulders relax here while have your eyes closed, taking in a couple of deep breaths here, shoulders relaxing. And imagine that there is no concern about money, time, talent. And if you didn't believe it were impossible, imagine what you really and truly desire. So this is a great opportunity for you to get to really stretch, to go big, to be as outrageous as you like, and making sure that these things are something that genuinely you would love and that are your authentic desires, not someone else's desires for you. So keep your eyes closed here for a minute, and we're going to give you some examples to just begin sparking your own desires. So it could be writing a best-selling book, owning a beautiful home, flying first class, spending 3 months in Italy working and traveling, hiring a fabulous team for your business, like a virtual assistant, a publicist, a graphic designer, etc. Hiring a personal assistant, a housekeeper, a private chef at home, or someone who helps with meal prep, contributing $10,000 to charity, being in great shape and hiring a personal trainer, tuition for college education for children, a new wardrobe, having a new luxury car, generating $10,000 a month consistently, speaking on a stage to an audience of 1,000 people, having a mailing list of 20,000 or more, turning your yearly income into your monthly income. So go ahead and open your eyes and just take a moment or two here and write down what your absolute top desires are. All right, take just another moment here. Okay, so the next step is to really test those desires to make sure that they are your desires and not someone else's desires for you, or desires that you think you should have. So let's just acknowledge first and foremost that all of us on this webinar, because we know the kind of person that you are, that we all do this work because we want to help people. And we also really want to fund our purpose and desires. So really allow that for yourself. For a long time, it's really interesting. What hindered my own growth and financial abundance was that I denied my desires. I felt like only my, quote unquote, virtuous desires were, that were all about like serving other people and making a difference for others, that only those were legit. And so I didn't acknowledge or even admit that they existed inside of me, that there were other deeper desires or just as deep desires that maybe seemed, slightly more selfish. And, I didn't feel like wanting money for material things in my life was maybe spiritual enough. So I just stuffed those desires and only allowed for my virtuous desires to be expressed. So, it was okay to say that I wanted to generate money for maybe a coaching program or to hire someone to help me do something in my business or to pay the bills, but not for a new wardrobe or to travel or even just to get a weekly or a monthly massage. But what I've learned is that once you allow all of yourself to be evident and present, it actually accelerates the entire process. So really allow yourself to be really clear about who you are, what you want, and give yourself permission to be that, to be you. So what we're going to be doing next here is to consider why you desire each of the items that you've listed. What desire would it satisfy within you? So for example, we talked about writing a best-selling book. That could satisfy the desire to share your message with the world. So think about why you desire each of the items that you've listed. What desire would it satisfy in you? And the other part of this too that's really interesting and important to consider is whose desires or goals have you been living up until now? What is your programming around how much good can you allow in your life? Is it okay to expand your goals into a great lifestyle? So just notice any beliefs around certain goals, any guilt around certain goals, the shoulds, what feels ethical or not to you, or, what maybe feels like it's too much or even unreasonable.
So we're going to be talking about, really what it really takes to manifest these big desires that you've just written down. And we're going to be going to highlight 6 main guiding principles and mindset shifts that really were foundational and crucial for our success when we made our fierce decision for a lucrative and sustainable business, when we made it our absolute must. And these core foundational business strategies were absolutely vital as we transform the results in our business. So these 6 main guiding principles and mindset shifts for success, we're going to name them first, and then we'll go ahead and define them. So really, 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 really get the principle that thoughts become things. Change your money story. Make personal mastery your new priority. Assume the behaviors and beliefs of the successful entrepreneur versus the struggling entrepreneur. And develop real business systems and structures. And setting yourself apart from others in your industry through your messaging and your personal branding. So let's start with the first one. Really get that thoughts become things. Our success or failure happens with the thoughts that we think and the beliefs that we hold. And the premise of thoughts become things is universal law and principle. You know, this technology of visioning is something that has been explored for millennia by philosophers, metaphysical teachers, and spiritual gurus alike. And what has emerged is the validity that thoughts do become things, that our thoughts create our reality. And that you and I, we have the ability to bring about that which we desire, which is the absolute great news. And there indeed is an art and a science to manifestation. And there are certain metaphysical principles and laws that actually govern the process of manifestation. So all creation begins with thought. And the power of this is that with understanding, you can learn how to apply these principles to your life, to bring forth the dreams and the desires that you hold dear in your heart. You know, everything you and I see on earth, it's made from one original substance, which is a thinking substance, and out of which all things are manifest. And this original thinking substance is unlimited and inexhaustible in its visible supply. And it's alive with creative energy, and it's infinite in its nature. It's a formless stuff, as Wallace Wattles refers to it in the Science of Getting Rich. And it permeates and it penetrates and it fills the interspaces of the universe. It's everywhere. And it responds to your thought and my thought. And it produces the thing imaged by the thought. So how this works in, let's say real time, is that you and I, we form pictures in our thoughts, pictures of our desires, what we would love, our dreams, or we can also form pictures of more of what we don't want or of what we fear. I mean, either way, by impressing thought upon this formless substance, the thing that we think about is then created. What we place our attention on, it increases. And this spiritual substance all around us, this thinking substance, it literally pours itself into whatever form you give it with your thoughts. So through a written vision statement, you are giving it a literal form, a blueprint for a dream life, a possible life, a life that delights you when you think about it. You are cut from the fabric of the divine, and you have the capacity to bring about any dream that you decide. And as you get in touch with this truth, ideas will come to you. So pay attention to those ideas. Pay attention to those nudges. And be reverent to the pull of your desires. So the second piece, the second step, number 2, and this is big, is change your money story. You've got to get educated on the real truth about money. You know, we are talking about your money blocks, your own story that you have around money, all the beliefs you learned and accepted from your family and culture and the educational or religious institutions. All those common conversations most people around you have about money. And it's beliefs that keep us as a chronic under-earner. You know, most of us were not taught how to make money. We were taught really on how to be great at scrimping and scraping by, how to work hard, get a job, to have all of our ducks in a row, and then we can make a decision for this or that. But the truth is that sometimes we just have to make a decision and not wait for all the ducks to be in a row. And the only way that you can make that kind of a decision is when you're really clear on your desires and that you've made it a must. You know, too often we've gotten stuck, especially, when our confidence has gotten knocked down. Let's say a program launch didn't go so well, or we didn't make the money goals we had set. Perhaps a new client changes their mind, and all of this can mess with our confidence. And then what happens is that the old conditioning, It worms its way into our thinking and have that become the voice of reason, when it's really the voice of fear disguised as reason. You know, it tells us we must be responsible. We should scale down. We need to play safer. Don't think so big. And whatever that is, it's just not true. And it's surely not going to make us grow. You know, I think that we've mistaken being responsible for playing it safe and staying small. The most responsible thing that any of us can do is to take a leap in the direction of our desires. That is when the universe actually literally meets us halfway, and surprise support shows up that would never have happened if we had not taken that leap with faith. Now, you know, I'm not advocating being reckless, but what we definitely have to do, we have to do something that feels like a leap, because if it were simply steps, we would have already done that and we would have already manifested it. So it all starts with the desire and making a decision to do it before all the ducks are in a row, before the money comes in. Because believe me, they will never all be in a row. Only after the decision is made does the how present itself. And I'm going to say it again because that's so important. Mm-hmm. Only after the decision is made. This means you and I, we need to make the decision first. Only after the decision is made does then the how present itself.
Yeah. So moving on to step number 3, making personal mastery your absolute priority. So truly making your personal mastery your holy grail, is absolutely paramount. So what we've actually done here is to identify 10 significant components to personal mastery that are total game changers here. So the first one is to define your goals, clarify your vision, your purpose, and your why. Number 2 is that self-care has to be a must. This is really about the fact that we can only give from our overflow, especially as women. So learning to put your own oxygen mask on first, and then and only then can you be of real service to others. Number 3 is overcoming codependence. This is also big for us ladies out here. So really the need for people to like us, to approve of us, to accept us. It's absolutely an exhausting and completely unsustainable way to run a business, not to mention a life. Developing a really healthy relationship with time, developing a really healthy relationship with money. Again, you have to get educated on the real truth about money that Judy was just talking about. Number 6 is to learn to create wealth based on a balance of masculine and feminine principles so that you don't get burnt out. That's really key. Getting great at making decisions quickly and really acting quickly on a great opportunity when you see one. Number 8 is being committed by following a no matter what policy, a no excuses policy, and really a whatever it takes policy. Number 9 is to be in a vibrant and high vibrational community of like-minded people, because truthfully, who you surround yourself with matters. You probably heard that expression that, if you average the incomes of the 5 people that we hang out with the most, that is going to be our income, and it's not the money that's contagious, it's the thinking that creates the money that's contagious, because again, thoughts become things. And number 10, understand that wanting a legendary life isn't enough. You have to make it a must. And moving on to number 4, this is so important. So it's really about assuming the behaviors and beliefs of the successful entrepreneur versus the struggling entrepreneur. So this is so big. Successful entrepreneurs, they commit, they are clear on their desires, they have a mentor, they aren't afraid to put things on credit cards, they are consistent with their action, they develop a speed of implementation, they're all about the solution, they surround themselves with like-minded people, they set up their business structures properly, and they course correct along the way, and they remain in action, and they take 100% responsibility for their results. So the mindset of the entrepreneur, or let's say of the true entrepreneur, is vastly different than the average business owner. We want to, it's so interesting because for most of us, we want to live these really extraordinary lives, but we want to do that. We want to live these incredible, extraordinary, outrageous lives, but with the rule book of the ordinary and average. And frankly, not everything gets to go with us. The rule book of the ordinary and average doesn't get to go with us when we are living a really extraordinary life. Because truly, the true entrepreneur is willing to do what other people simply are not willing to do. Now, the struggling entrepreneurs, many of us, we've seen them, perhaps we have been them on occasion, but the struggling entrepreneur, they procrastinate. They are unclear with their desires. They do it alone. They try to figure it all out by themselves. They're inconsistent. They are obsessed over being perfect. They treat their business like a hobby. They stay in drama. They make excuses. They get distracted. They remain in negative environments. They complain. They're indecisive. They never have enough time. They're always feeling overwhelmed, and they remain a victim to their circumstances. They don't take 100% responsibility for their results. And in fact, it's usually someone else's fault. And ultimately, they sabotage themselves. So number 5 is to develop real business systems and structures. So this is the one that's maybe not as much fun as some of the other ones, but the business structures are really the nitty gritty of what you need to have in place in order to take on clients, grow your business, which we found to be, again, it's like the least fun part, but it's so necessary in order for money to flow into your business. So without these, we end up with a very expensive hobby. It's not a real business. It's just an expensive hobby, period. And truly, if money is not flowing, you don't have a business. It's the infrastructure of systems and structures and contracts and managing your schedule and managing your time and hiring team support and an accountant, having tax ID numbers, hiring attorneys to create or review your legal contracts, etc., or whatever pertains to your particular business. But truly, as a successful entrepreneur, you must treat your business like a business and have real business systems and structures in place to have a real business. So again, this is like hiring a virtual assistant or a personal assistant, or perhaps having a housekeeper come once a week, because the truth of it is that you can't do it all. You can have it all, but you cannot do it. You cannot have it all by doing it all yourself. So what we really teach and what we stand for is to get as much support as you possibly can, as quickly as you can. So even honestly, if it's like 15 minutes to start with, we've had hired virtual assistants to do something that's like a 30-minute job that, is like $20. But, the more that we lean into that, the more that we can really stretch ourselves, the more that we can really have it all. And, one of the things that we teach our clients is to put a sticky above their computer with a question, who else can do this? And then delegate it. And the final principle here is really setting yourself apart from others in your industry through your messaging and your personal branding. So it's so interesting because, the concept or the word of branding is thrown around a lot. And I think many people have this misconception that personal branding is like just about your logo or pictures or images, and it's not. It goes so much deeper than that. So branding is really the message and the connection and the communication you cultivate with your ideal client. So you have to have clarity on all these things. What is my message that I'm here to share with the world? What do I stand for? What do I believe? What are my unique gifts? What are my strengths? What are my core values, and how do I bring those into my business? Who am I meant to serve? What life experiences do I bring that make me an absolute expert in my field? And lastly, how do I translate all of this into powerful programs, products, services that fully reflect my gifts and talents? So you're going to want to ask yourself, what is my message? What do I stand for? What do I believe?
All right. So how does all this apply to you? You might be asking specifically. Well, honestly, if you've stayed with us until now, what we know about you is that you are meant for something more. There is something more for you. There is a bigger life, a bigger contribution. And there are thousands, if not millions, of clients who are really needing what you have to offer. Know that you are meant for greatness. You know, it's really about stripping away all the layers of conditioning that is built up over our lifetime and getting to the true core of who we are and what we desire, and acknowledging that the big hopes and the dreams and the desires that we have in our lives, they're here for a reason. You know, they are meant to be experienced. But somewhere along the line, many of us started dialing ourselves down and began apologizing for our desires, you know, believing that maybe we were dreaming too big after all, right? Well, you know, we're here to take a firm stand with you that your desires exist for a reason. Your desires exist for a reason, and, you know, nurture that desire. Nurture that fire that's within, that fierceness, that yes, I'm ready. Because, you know, timing is everything. There will never be a better time than now for you. There will never be a better time than now for you to really claim your life, to up-level your life, to make a change in your life than right now. And for those of you who are so deeply craving change right now from your depths, we know that because that was us. You know, we totally get that. It was like, show us what to do. We're ready. We would have done anything if we had known how to do it. And then, you know, for those of you who are like, you know, well, you know, I can't do it right now, or, you know, one day, or when I finish this program, or after I move, or I start, you know, I'll start in 6 months, or, you know, when I finish X, Y, and Z. Well, we're here to let you know that you're fooling yourself, because that perfect day, it never comes. There is never a better time to become the best you. Unless it's okay for you to really live the unlived life. Unless it's okay to, you know, keep putting yourself on the back burner. There will never be a better time to become the best you, unless it's okay for you to watch other people do and live out and be and experience what you know is secretly in your own heart. So now is your time. Today is your day. There will never be a better or more convenient time to become the very best you.
Absolutely. So earlier in the workshop today, we mentioned that if what we have shared with you resonates really deeply with you and you'd like to go deeper with us, we promised that we would let you know how you can do that. So what we have done as a gift to you is that we have blocked out some time in our schedules for you for a complimentary discovery session. So this is a 45-minute phone conversation. It is completely free, and it's really a way for us to support you in going deeper than we had the time to do today and getting really clear about what your desires and intentions for 2016 are and what your next steps are. I mean, that's really the most important thing. It's like, so, you know, what is it that you're wanting and what's the next step for you? So if you go ahead and it should be up now. Judy, can you see the link here on the right-hand side?
I see sign up for complimentary one-on-one discovery session with us, but I don't necessarily see the link.
Okay, it should be on the right-hand side here. If you guys want to type in and let us know if you can see this, it should be popping up here. It says on the right-hand side, there's a little picture of 2016, and it says complimentary discovery session, and there's a place for you to click here to sign up. But so this will link directly to our calendar, and you can directly sign up with us. So truly, you know, if your results haven't been what you've hoped for in the past, and you know in your bones that you really are meant for greatness, that you are meant to be living a much more expansive and wonderful life than you currently are, and you are really ready for change, then we're here to help. So again, just click this link on the right-hand side, and we'll look forward to speaking with you. And if you cannot see it here, I will also say you can go ahead and email us at questions@moontransformationalcoaching.com. I can go ahead and type that in here as well. Hold on just one sec here. So either way, you can either, if that link is popping up, then you can click there. And if not, you can go ahead and just email us directly at questions@moontransformationalcoaching.com, and we'll find a time for us to meet. So what we want to do is close with a really beautiful inspiration from W.H. Murray, who was part of the first expedition who summited Mount Everest all the way back in 1953. So this really sums up moving confidently into the new year. So until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen events, meetings, and material assistance, which no one could have dreamed would have come their way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So we are so delighted to have shared this time with you at the beginning of this brand new baby year. And what we know is that this really can be your best year ever if you choose. And we would love to support you with that. So again, if you'd like to schedule a discovery session, again, I know Judy's not seeing it, but there should be this little box on the right-hand side.
But what I do see is we have different options here. And if you click on the offers option on the top, there's chat, there are different options that if you click the offers, then it shows up. So that might be what you see too.
Okay, well, hopefully it's popped up for you, and if not, you can always email us at questions@moontransformationalcoaching.com. Again, we're totally here for you. We really want to support you and, really cheerlead you in making this your absolute best year yet. And so, get yourself scheduled in our calendar, and we'll put our eyes on you and your desires and your business, and help you move forward. Absolutely. So again, we want to thank you so much. Happy New Year. And here is to 2016 being your absolute most prosperous year yet.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for being here today, wherever you are in the world.
Coming from all over the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.